Have you ever thought about buoys? You know, the little floaty things out in the ocean? They don't stay exactly still, but they pretty much stay in the same place. And despite the color, who owns them, they all essentially exist for one purpose. That's to tell you something. When you see a buoy, you're supposed to take note about something, where it's at. So with that in mind, our waters flow today. First from 1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 12. And the kine took the straight way to the way of Beth Shemesh, and went along the highway, lowing as they went, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And the lords of the Philistines went after them unto the border of Beth Shemesh. Also we have 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 1. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, and the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto King Solomon in Jerusalem, that they might bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion. The ark had been on quite a journey to get from the Philistines into Solomon's temple. It was a symbol of God's presence and his power, and Israel took it to battle. They'd been losing to the Philistines, and we'll take the ark with us. And they lost that battle too, and thousands died, and the ark was taken over by the enemy. And the Philistines had a unique situation show up, because everywhere they put the ark, things started to fall apart. Their populations started to get decimated. There wasn't a safe place for it. So eventually they threw it on the back of a cart, hooked up some cows, and sent it on its way. They watched to see if the God of Israel would take it back to Israel, and he certainly did. Cows didn't go to the right or the left. They went straight into Israeli territory to return the ark to its home. But the Jews found themselves having equal problems with the ark, because God doesn't like it when you disrespect him. Doesn't like it when you disrespect his things. And so a handful of errors led to a lot of dead Israelis, until eventually David was the king. David had this idea. He was going to build a temple to God, and he was going to bring the ark and he was going to put it in that temple. And so he went and made a big deal about it. And there was processions, and there were sacrifices and dancing, and everybody was having a great time, until someone reached out and they touched the ark and died. And they had to get back into the law, into the word, to figure out how to actually deal with the ark and how to transport it. And they figured it out, and they got it back to Jerusalem, where they put it in a tent. They didn't return the ark to the tabernacle where it came from. They left it in a tent until after David died. Solomon finished the temple, and Solomon called for the ark to come. I know that life is hard, and life can hit you really, really hard. But there are buoys out there that you need to watch for. There are meandering ministries that don't go anywhere. They move a little bit here and there, but they stay in the same place. You need to watch for these things and learn from them. Some people are like the Philistines. They feel God's presence in their life. And they get excited, and they capture it, and they want to do something great for God, and they want to live for him like they've never lived before. And as soon as they bring the presence of God into their lives, he starts wrecking things. You can't keep going to these places. You can't keep doing these things. You can't keep watching these same things. You can't keep saying these things. You have to change your life. And these people who were excited about what they could do for God, they're happy to let God go away so they don't have to deal with the ramifications of him being in their life. They don't have to change things. They can just say they love God and they love Jesus, and it just doesn't work out. That church doesn't work for me, because if God was in my life, I'd have to change. But some people are just like the Jews were. They love God. They love the presence of God, and they are so excited to be around him as long as they can leave him in that pretty church building. See, they couldn't even get it back to Jerusalem until they got into the Word and they started to see what kind of sacrifices they would have to do, what kind of things they would have to do, how they'd have to change their life. And people, they love being around God and they love church, but actually having God in your life requires change and study and sacrifice, and some people just don't want to do that. And so they're happy to leave God in the pretty church tent, so to speak, so they can live life without the power that comes from sacrifice. These buoys, they should be warnings to you, friend. You're going to meet people your whole life who are going to fill into these categories, and they're just going to meander back and forth, attached to the same spot, floating in the water, not going anywhere. But you, when you are in the midst of it and you're tired and life is crashing into you, don't be like them. Call for the presence of God. Call for the power of God. Call God to come into your life. And when you do, he will. And if he starts talking to you about changing habits, getting things out of your life, out of your home, do it. If he starts calling you to greater sacrifices of prayer and Bible study, do it. Don't waste your life doing nothing for God in the same spot. Instead, equip yourself. Because when you call to God and you get that presence in your life, he will take a hold of you and he will pull you through the hardest storms you've ever been through. He will get you through them, and he will get you where you need to be at. And your life will never be the same if you're willing to make the sacrifices that it takes to encourage God to work in your life. If you're willing to let go of the things you need to let go of, and to pull on the prayer and the study, the fasting, and the different things you need to do in your life, God's presence will get you from the depths of despair to the safety of shore. Remember the buoys. Heed the warnings. Call for the presence of God. God bless you, friends. Have a great day.